The topic is confidence in Krishna consciousness. And, before I start, one thing that I have done during my college days as I was being introduced to Krishna consciousness was ask a lot of questions. I still remember my mentor would come, he would speak for 1 hour, and then I would have questions for 1 hour and everybody else would be waiting for Prashadam. Like, oh, when will he stop asking his questions and we can eat? But it's just, I couldn't stop myself. I had to ask because I came from a Mayavadi background of Ramakrishna mission, and everything that I knew was being turned upside down, and I wasn't willing to accept it. But I was also open-minded in order to something that makes sense, if it is even outside my realm of understanding, if it makes sense, and if it is coming from authorized sources, the scriptures, I was open to at least exploring it. I still remember one time Chandramouli Maharaj, he was giving a lecture, and he spoke against, not against, he called goddess Kali as a maidservant of Krishna. And in my mind, coming from India, maidservant is somebody who cleans your floor. And I was from Bengal, goddess Kali was my worshipful deity. And I was like, now he's a sannyasi. I couldn't walk away and disrespect him. I couldn't sit there and hear such things. So I just burst into tears and my face was red. And till date, Chandramouli Maharaj, 15 years later, he looks at me and said, aha, the worship of goddess Kali. That's how he remembers me. But the point is that all these questions and my strong convictions being uprooted and new convictions being placed, it was difficult. And I'm sure many of us go through that, especially coming from Hindu backgrounds, right? But once I was given the opportunity to clarify my doubts, there did come a time when I had no more doubts and I was convinced to the brink of my existence, like, this is it. There is nothing beyond it. And this is the best philosophy, the best process to reach God consciousness in this lifetime, right? And that is one of my gifts, is the confidence in Krishna and the confidence in the Krishna conscious process, right? Because a lot of people don't accept the philosophy, but they see your conviction, they see your confidence, and that's what molds them. That's what tells them, let me see. Seems like this person. Can we all mute yourselves? That'll be nice. So a lot of times it's not the philosophy, it's not anything. It's just the conviction you see in a devotee, and that makes you just say like, hey, let's try this out, right? And that's all it takes. The moment you start trying it out, Krishna starts his magic, and he charms us into his family, right? So I'll share my screen. May I be enabled for screen sharing? Thank you. So when I see this picture of Srila Prabhupada next to Jaladuta, for me, this is what confidence in Krishna and Krishna consciousness looks like. At the age of 70, when people are willing to retire and willing to, just slow down, Prabhupada sped up his life and he started a worldwide movement. He was convinced in his guru's instruction. He was convinced in the purport of the acharyas. So whatever number of years he had left, around 14 years, 12 years beyond this, he dedicated that. And that's why we are all here, right? So confidence in Krishna starts with Srila Prabhupada taking the risk, 3 heart attacks post, coming to Jaladuta, coming to US and helping us, taking mercy on our souls, even though he didn't know us. One of the processes of surrender is that one should simply depend on Krishna, convinced that he will give one all protection, that Krishna will protect his devotees is a fact. The word convince is very important, and it doesn't come just with dogmatic understanding. It comes by clearing our doubts. So convincing takes a mentor or a guru who can answer all our questions and clear our doubts. right? Srila Prabhupada, he was convinced. In his own words, he said, I didn't know whether to turn left or right. When I, stepped down in Boston, I didn't know whether to go left or right. But my guru's instruction was on my head. And interestingly enough, when ISKCON 50 happened, it started from Kolkata. There, his son came, Prabhupada's son came to speak, and he demystified a myth. He said that everybody says Prabhupada went to America with 40 rupees. It's not true. He boarded the Jaladuta with 40 rupees, and I boarded with him to drop off his bags. And he said, hey, as a father, I'm not able to do much for you. Keep this 40 rupees, because on the other side of Atlantic, this won't mean much. So actually, he went penniless. He did not have any money with him. He just had a bag of cereals, books, and that's it. Confidence in Krishna. So the 40 rupees myth is actually, he didn't have any money, even to pay his bus fare or anything like that. But somehow he managed to create $400 million worth of temples around the world. And we know all the story. So just starting with glories to Srila Prabhupada. Confidence in Krishna. Look at Hiranyakashipu's face and look at Prahlad Maharaj's face. That's what confidence looks like. Prahlad Maharaj is not worried. Hiranyakashipu wants to kill him. He's the most powerful man after Lord Vishnu in this universe at that time. And he's concerned. Prahlad he's just, okay, what you gonna do? Right? And Hiranyakashipu asks him, are you not worried? Are you not fearful of me? Where do you get your strength from? And he says, my dear best of the demons. He doesn't say my dear father. He said, my dear best of the demons. My strength and your strength comes from the same personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan. Oh, really? Where is he? Oh, he's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? Yes. Boom, comes out here. Comes out Nrsimhadev and destroys him. How did he get this conviction? How did Prahlad become so confident in the Krishna conscious process? Because when he was in his mother's womb, he was hearing Narad Muni speak the Bhagavatam, right? So here he heard from a pure devotee. He heard about Krishna consciousness, and he was born a devotee, right? So as he grew up, he was already a devotee. By the age of 5, his father said, this guy is a pakka devotee. He's like on my enemy camp. Let's send him to school and get him brainwashed. Let him learn economics and social sciences so that he can be brainwashed and he can understand that it's actually me who's the most powerful person in this universe, not the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. But Prahlad didn't care. He was convinced. So whenever there was a break, he was making his friends chant and dance in Krishna's holy name. He was converting them. And the demon teachers were very concerned. It's like, what is going on? We are teaching, we are such scholars, but this fellow is just a child and he's making all the other demon children into devotees. This is not good, right? We know the story. Tried to kill him in so many ways. He's always smiling, right? So Prahlad Maharaj represents in the 9 processes of bhakti, he represents Smaranam because he was always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he was never concerned. And if you see the picture on your right, see, this is something very significant. They're throwing him from a mountain. When a person is thrown from or jumps from a tall building to commit suicide, I have heard from my doctor friends that apparently in the heart attack of the fear, they get heart attack, that they're going to die. So they die before even they crash the ground if the building is tall enough. In this case, he's being thrown from a tall mountain, but he's chilled out. He's totally like, yeah, Krishna is there. And the Lord is actually at the bottom. He is at the very end. So sometimes in life, we question Krishna consciousness, we question Krishna, we question the whole process because we are being tested. And we don't know if Krishna will be there to hold us. If Krishna will keep his bargain, if he will remember me. I'm so insignificant. I'm a tiny, speck in this entire creation. Will Krishna remember me? Will Krishna actually come for my rescue? Will he be there at the time of my death? Right? This is a nice reminder. that Krishna is there. Sometimes he comes a little late, but it's okay. He was there. Draupadi, same way, right? She was really struggling, but Krishna came. He came at the end when she was willing to surrender completely with two hands. So Prahlad Maharaj's life, Holi is coming, so Holika Dahan. So multiple ways we see that Prahlad was tested, but he was completely absorbed. And that was his confidence because he was remembering Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the one who remembers me, he's never lost to me and I'm never lost to him. So this beautiful Krishna, Shyamsundar Krishna, in Vrindavan, becomes this Nrsimhadev Krishna out of, his love for his devotee. This is actually a love story. The Nrsimhadev story is a love story where the Supreme Lord is really showcasing what he's capable of if someone messes with his devotee, right? This beautiful, smiling, gentle, tender Krishna. Krishna is supposed to be very tender, so tender that when he walks through the gardens, the flowers scratch his body, right? That's Krishna. And here he's Nrsimhadev with nails and big teeth. That's when Krishna gets angry. This is the form he manifests. In fact, when Chandkazi broke the mridanga, Lord Chaitanya became Nrsimhadev and appeared to Chandkazi and scratched him and told him, if you mess with me, you're messing with, you're messing with mridanga, you're messing with the Harinam Sankirtan movement, you're messing with me. Please understand. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came the next day, Chandkazi didn't want to come out of his room. He was scared. Mahaprabhu to tell him, you're my father's friend. You're the same age as my father. Hey, not father's friend, but you're the same age as my father. Please come out and let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Why did you break the mridanga? So Krishna, be very sweet, and Krishna, he's dangerous for those who harm his devotees. He doesn't take offense to himself as much as he does when his devotees are offended. So this is a great story. If you ever question this process of Krishna consciousness, remember what Prahlad Maharaj went through, the earliest sign of child abuse case that we see, and how he was so beautifully taken care of by Nrsimhadev. And it's not just him. He prayed to Nrsimhadev for us. He didn't ask for anything for himself. He prayed for us. The one who becomes a devotee should get the Lord's mercy, and the Lord blessed him. He said, okay, since you said, a pure devotee, 21 generations above and below will be liberated. Done, right? Not a pure devotee, 7 generations. So again, this part I get a little iffy. But the point is, if you're a devotee, multiple generations above and below will get the benefit of you becoming a devotee. Your friends will get the benefit. Your relatives around you will get the benefit. Those who love you will get the benefit. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, came to criticize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you're eating too much. You're a sannyasi. How can you accept such opulent prasadam? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya cursed. They said, from today, my daughter is a widow. I don't want to see your face. Go away. And that son-in-law, he got cholera or some kind of disease, and he was about to die. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his room, put his hand on his chest and said, you are a Brahmana. How have this criticizing mentality come upon you? And as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put his hand on his chest, he was relieved from this poisonous tendency of finding faults in devotees. And very quickly, he started dancing and chanting, and he dedicated the rest of his life to glorify devotees. He wrote poetry glorifying devotees, right? So that is what we're seeing here, that brings in the understanding that even though this person was offended to the Supreme Lord himself, by being Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, he was getting the benefit of being purified of his malice. So one who's close to, so Nrsimhadev has blessed Prahlad Maharaj because Prahlad Maharaj prayed for us. That's the blessing for all of us, that if anybody, not what to speak of us, but if anybody is close to us, close to devotee, they also get the benefit of the blessings of Darshana, right? So now these are what the scriptures. Now, how do we see that in reality? Of course, we can see Srila Prabhupada, but that was also 50, 60 years ago. Let's come to, now, today. Let's understand. Even today in ISKCON, devotees are a lot of times worried, like COVID happened. Many of us got worried. Many of us were questioning, will we survive? Many of us didn't survive. Where is Krishna? Why did he not save the devotees? Questions like that arise. In Bangladesh, there were some attacks, and a 25-year-old devotee was killed trying to save Srila Prabhupada's deity, right? And things like that make us question sometimes. Whoa, what if devotees are getting killed? What hope do I have? So we should understand this fear, this questioning, this doubt comes from ignorance. When you don't know, you're fearful. Like when you're in a dark room in an unknown place, you would be fearful because you might get hurt. But in your room, in your house, even if it is dark, you know where the furnitures are and you can find your way. It's not a big deal. But if you're in an unknown place, because you don't know where the furnitures are, where you could get hit if there is somebody around, whatnot. But a little bit of light from your cell phone, you turn on the cell phone, and if you see a little bit of light, a little clarity in the room, and you feel confident, there is the exit. That's how I get to the door, right? That's how life works. That's how Krishna consciousness works. So we see so many devotees, little bit of knowledge about Krishna consciousness, and their whole confidence turns around. I remember in our college, we were doing this Chinese preaching. So we were not allowed to preach to Chinese students. So what we did was we hired a bunch of Chinese interns and told them, hey, these are books in Mandarin written by Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And I told them to make PowerPoint presentations out of the content of the books. And this was all Krishna consciousness. So these kids, they would study the book, make PowerPoint presentation, and I would tell them, now invite your friends and you present, because this is how you learn how to present. So they were basically learning the art of presentation, but in the process, they were learning Krishna consciousness. And eventually, they were very confidently saying, there's only one God, Krishna. The best process of yoga is bhakti yoga, right? With super confidence, with very little knowledge, but they were confident to the point that my Guru Maharaj came and he was surprised, like, this is the best Chinese preaching I've ever seen. In fact, he stopped going to China. He said, we'll just preach to Chinese students in the US. And, they will go home convinced and they will bring in more devotees. And that's a very, very effective way of preaching in China. So the point is that even though fear comes from ignorance, a little bit of knowledge, the torchlight of knowledge brings in so much clarity, so much confidence. What to speak of the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, right? So when we know why things are happening, why Krishna does certain things in a certain way, when you get to know the personality of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, that's what I appreciate, because Krishna is directly speaking. So you get to see Krishna's nature, how he talks to Arjun, how he convinces him, how such a good friend, a good teacher, a good spiritual master. He shows all different aspects of his personality. Of course, it's a great way to attract our hearts, but it also gives us tremendous confidence, because he keeps on from time to time saying, if you just know my janma and karma, punarjanmana vidyate, you'll never take birth in this place. If you just remember me, I'll never forget you. You'll remain in my heart and I'll remain in your heart. If you leave this body thinking of me, you'll come back to me, no doubt, right? And he ends the Bhagavad Gita by saying, just forget everything, just surrender unto me. I will take care of you. Masuchaha, don't worry. I was at Varadaraj Swami just a few weeks ago, and on his hand, it says Masuchaha, don't worry. So when Krishna says don't worry, it's a real confidence booster, because his name is Achyuta, infallible. He keeps his promise to his devotees, right? He might not keep his promise in otherwise, but when he says to his devotees, don't worry, he means it, and he takes care of his devotees. And I can tell you from personal example, there are many stories, and they continue to happen, which builds my confidence in Krishna, because he's there, but how do we know? A lot of times in college campuses, you will get the question, how do we know Krishna is there? Because we don't see him. Now, it's kind of like, how do you know somebody was there in the murder scene? By the fingerprints they leave behind. So when we look at our life, we look at difficult situations, and we see how we overcame those difficult situations. It was not possible for us to do it on our own. Someone was there helping us. There was external help. And a lot of times it is very, very obvious that the impossible situation became possible because there was somebody there. And that somebody we call Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, right? That somebody is our Govinda, our Krishna. So it's important that we thoughtfully see what we are receiving, because a lot of times we see the gift of Krishna consciousness in a thoughtless way. It's kind of like being a spoiled rich kid, where we just take it for granted. Like, but if we are grateful, if we are devotees, it is important we be Krishna conscious. And being Krishna conscious means to consciously see every situation in our life, and to consciously appreciate for what is that we are receiving and how we are receiving. We're receiving Krishna's mercy because there is Guru's presence, the disciplic succession's presence, right? I'll share an example. So this was Janmashtami many years ago. I was not even initiated at that time. My spiritual master, I'm very fearful of him. His Holiness Rupa Maharaj. Every time I would see him, my heart would pound, and I would act like a retard in front of him. It took me a long time to normalize myself, to not act like a weirdo. But anyway, this was one of those times. And one day I was dancing and chanting in the kirtan, and I turned around and there is this, tall person. He's much taller than me. So I look at Maharaj, and Maharaj just gives me a little flash drive with a little sticky note attached to it. It says slide number so-and-so, remove this, add this, there's some instruction. And I was always making PowerPoints for the temple presentation. I was, making the flyers. I was designing the website for the temple. So tech was my thing. And I was like, oh, this will take me 30 seconds. So I very confidently went to the pujari room and I opened my laptop. My laptop turned on, and before it could come to the, desktop, the screen, it just started rebooting itself. Once it happened, twice it happened, thrice it happened. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I paused. This happened like 6-7 times. And something that I thought would take 30 seconds, my computer was not even starting. And it's not, likely that would happen. So I paused and I thought, today is Janmashtami. I am in the pujari room. This is practically, an extension of the altar. Krishna is trying to teach me something. What is it that I need to learn? Am I being arrogant? Krishna is teaching me dependence. So I paused. I breathed. And I said, my dear Krishna, this is a service given to me by my spiritual master. I am completely incompetent. I'm dense. But if you so desire, if you empower me, I will be able to do the service. I plugged in the flash drive. I turned on the power button. The computer turned on. I opened PowerPoint. It took me 30 seconds to edit that. Saved it, took the flash drive, went to my Guru Maharaj, gave it to him. Right. Few days later, again, similar example, my mentor, we received a shipment from Vrindavan, all of Kishore Kishori's dresses. And my mentor said, please check each dress that there is nothing torn, there's nothing wrong with them, and then seal the box again and leave. I said, okay, like very easy. And I'm trying to open this box and it just won't open. The strips of sellotape is coming out, but then the box, I'm just not able to. Like, this is such a simple task. Why am I not able to do it? Again, I remembered, oh, this is the pujari room. Krishna had to teach me something. Okay, let me learn. My dear Krishna, on my own, I don't have a capacity to serve you, but I've been instructed by your dear devotee. If you so desire, please empower me. so that I can serve you. Boom, came out the seal, opened the box, looked at the dresses, sealed the box, went home, right? And I learned something. Okay, no matter how easy the task is, Krishna likes us to depend on him. Aha, so let's build a lifestyle of dependence on Krishna. In any situation, hard or small, big or small, difficult or simple, let's have a mood of gratitude towards Krishna. And slowly, slowly, that became my habit till one day I got a deeper realization. I heard about Krishna's pastime with Srimati Radharani. We were studying Bhakti Shastri. I think Nectar Devotion or somewhere it was being talked about that Radharani and Krishna is on the swing in Radha Kund. And Radharani is enjoying it. Krishna is enjoying it. Krishna wants to intensify the mood, which he always does. So he makes the swing go higher and higher. And Radharani, feeling a little scared, takes shelter of Krishna and hugs him more tightly. Krishna likes it. So he makes it go higher and higher. Radharani, holds on to him even more tightly. Krishna likes it. And like that, they're swinging and they're enjoying this pastime. And then Srimati Radharani tells Krishna, okay, I have enjoyed with you. Now let me get off and invite the other gopis. And she's inviting these other gopis to get on the swing with Krishna and enjoy the same way. I got completely confused. I was like, how can a woman who loves her beloved so much share that beautiful loving exchange with other ladies? It's not possible. Women by nature, that's not their nature to do that. And especially when you love someone, it's exclusive. How is she doing that? So for a whole week, I was just meditating on that pastime and it was just not making sense to me. Till the 4th of July weekend came and my spiritual master was giving a topic, which was declaring our dependence on Krishna on this Independence Day. And in that, he started explaining what it means to surrender, what it means to depend on Krishna. And, I was having those 2 episodes where I remember Krishna wanted me to depend on him. And then there was this Radharani's pastime. And then something clicked. And I ran to my mentor and I said, I would like some validation if this is a right realization or not. And this is very important, right? When we get realizations, we should get it validated by a senior Vaishnava. So I asked him, I said, I finally get it, that Krishna wants us to depend on him. So Srimati Radharani was holding on to him and he was really liking it. And so when difficulties come, Krishna basically wants us to hold on to his lotus feet very tightly. And that makes him happy and difficulties go away and we feel sheltered. He said, very good. But you missed the second part. I said, what? He said, the second part is Radharani getting off the swing and inviting the other gopis to enjoy the same way. And that is preaching. Right? I was like, wow, yes. She's not just enjoying alone. She wants everyone to experience that joy of being with Krishna. And this is a preaching movement, like Srila Prabhupada said. Our whole mood is outreach to bring in new people. So we feel blissed out from just a little bit of torchlight of knowledge. And then we want others to experience it. We start with our family, and then we get the backfire. Like, oh, everyone goes through that. Like sometimes some lucky people might get a family where they're okay, but most people are not okay with us becoming so Krishna conscious. But the point is eventually we mature up and we reach out to our colleagues and everybody, and new devotees come. And that is how we share Srila Prabhupada's movement to others. But it starts with us getting out of the fear zone through the torchlight of ignorance given by the disciplic succession. And we see the joy or the confidence in Krishna consciousness. And that allows us to go out and bring other people. But confidence for what? What is Krishna saying here? He's saying, engage your mind, always thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they come to me. What he's giving the confidence is, you will come to me. That is for sure. How you will come to me, leave that on me. He has his way of doing things, right? It might not work the way we want it, but it'll be far better, far more glorious, because it's the way Krishna wants it. But the confidence in Krishna is that we will get back to Krishna's lotus feet. Somehow or other, we'll get the shelter. That is the confidence, if we stay in the process. When I got initiated, Badrinath Maharaj told me, oh, congratulations, welcome to the boat of ISKCON. Just stay in the boat. Don't leave. You will get back to Goloka. I'm like, yes, that's a great confidence booster. The pure devotee has spoken. So I'll give another example. Crazy Peter. Most of you probably know the story, but I'll still share a little bit. Crazy Peter was a drug-addicted fellow in Paris. And Srila Prabhupada was going for morning walks. He held on to Prabhupada's lotus feet. Prabhupada said, it's okay. It's okay. I'll take care of you. So he was allowed in the temple. Long story short, he was cleaning dishes and scrubbing the floor. And one day he wanted to distribute books. And they said, you're not qualified. You don't know scriptures. You can't convince people. And Crazy Peter got on the, little van anyway, went there, and we all know, right? He went there and he told people, Prabhupada saved me. He'll save you too. The conviction he had, the confidence he had, people saw that in his eyes and they bought the books. By the time the brahmacharis finished their breakfast, Crazy Peter had sold a box of books. And they were like, whoa, how did he do that? We are all Sanskrit scholars and we are all like Bhakti Shastris, but this fellow doesn't even, know the first thing in Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada saved him. He got shelter. He got food. He was finally able to speak. He was able to get out of his drug addiction. And 20 years later, Indra Maharaj sees him singing, I think in New York temple. And he was like, isn't that Crazy Peter? Is he really a devotee? Initiated? And it turns out this person is a Sanskrit scholar, translating Prabhupada's books, speaking all over the world, transformed by Prabhupada's mercy, right? If that doesn't build confidence, what would? For me, seeing the pastime of Sudama Maharaj passing. Sudama Maharaj was somebody who Prabhupada said, you were Japanese in your past life. Go to Tokyo and translate my books in Japanese. Learn Japanese, you will learn quickly. Translate my books, establish the Japanese temples. He did that. He went to Japan, learned Japanese. 2 years, he was able to actually learn Japanese, translate books, establish the whole congregation, come down to Hawaii, I think. And then somehow or other, I don't want to get into the details, he left the movement. Many, many years, he left the movement. He was not there. And finally, when he got AIDS, he remembered Ante Narada Smriti and he came back. And he asked his godbrother, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, at that time, that would you kindly make the arrangement so I can leave the body in Krishna consciousness? Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, very happily we'll do that. We are grateful what you've done for our movement. And he was given a Mataji who was being his nurse. And Sudama Maharaj in his, late days, he was in not a very good state, but he was taken care of very nicely. When he was going to leave his body, he was given Tulsi, he was given Govardhan Sheela. This came out in Back to Godhead magazine. And as he was breathing his last, he looked and he says, Srila Prabhupada, you have come. And he left his body. Right? Confidence in Krishna. There's a Mataji, she served Tulsi Maharani for almost all her life. At the end, she got paralyzed. And she was not able to serve Tulsi Maharani, so the devotees brought Tulsi Devi next to her. So from her bed only, she would, give water and worship Tulsi Maharani. Same thing. As she was leaving her body, her eyes grew brighter. There was a smile on her face and said, Tulsi Maharani. And she left her body, right? So these are from, just a few years ago, and they're happening constantly. So this should give us some confidence that this process of Krishna consciousness works. At the time of death, one of my close, I wouldn't say friends, but he's a senior to me, one of our vice presidents in a temple in Chicago. His mother-in-law, she was about to leave her body. She wanted to leave in Vrindavan. She had dementia, so she forgot to even speak. If you asked her anything, that's how she would speak. But right before her death, her last words, she died in her sleep in the hospice in Vrindavan. Before her sleep, the last thing she said to the nurse was, Radha Krishna. And she closed her eyes and she went back. So the point is, Krishna promises that even if you don't remember me, I'll inject myself into your consciousness so you can remember me, right? Because Krishna is more eager for us to come back to him than we are to go back to him. So Krishna is a concerned father, and he's constantly giving us hope in the Bhagavad Gita. So it's important that we get to know Krishna, get to understand how loving he is, and apply the teachings of this principle that will bring us confidence in this person, right? So when you have confidence in a person, you should know how he or she operates. Like it says that, the tiger's teeth is death for the deer, and it's love for the cubs. So Krishna, comes as death for the materialist, and he comes as eternal, loving, back to Godhead for the devotees. So we celebrate a devotee going back to Godhead. And he says, Aham bija pradapita, I am the seed-giving father, right? So whenever we feel down, our confidence goes down, this is how we should think about it. The belief system, Krishna is my father, right? Potential, unlimited potential. Action, take massive action in Krishna consciousness. And the results will be obvious. Even though initially it might not, eventually it will come. And that will boost our belief system. Yes, Krishna is God and he is my father. And I have unlimited potential. You take more massive action, more results. And the belief grows and grows and grows. Again, I'll share a story that will help you understand this, how this process works. 2017, November, I go to this Hong Kong place. My friend invites me. He's launching an ICO, initial coin offering for his cryptocurrency business. And he shares, oh, today we're $1 billion company. I'm like, what? He started in June. By November, he's $1 billion company. So I sat down with him and I was like, tell me everything that you know about crypto and everything. So he kind of like, gave me the download. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I took some pictures, put it on Facebook. And somehow people in India started thinking I'm an expert on cryptocurrency. I was invited to this place in Delhi. There was this huge conference with around 1,500 people from 50 countries. And I was going to speak on entrepreneurship, and that's like fine. That's what I do every day. But then they said, sir, can you also be on the panel for cryptocurrency? I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not an expert. And they're like, no. One speaker didn't come. Please, this would be great help to us. So I go in the green room, and there's all these PhDs from Germany, from England, from China, and they're like all cryptocurrency experts and blockchain experts. And they look at me like, we've never seen this guy. Who's he? It's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm the venture capitalist, managing director of Kolkata Ventures. And he's like, oh, but what is expertise on cryptocurrency? I'm like, I don't have any expertise. And they're all looking down on me like, this guy. Oh, we are all like bigwigs. So I'm like, I'm feeling very low. Looking at the stage, I'm like, okay, Krishna, if you so desire, all knowledge comes from you. If you so desire, you can give me some intelligence that I can speak. And if you want to make me look like a fool, it's fine. So, I am in your hands. I get on stage, there's, all these other great, scientists and scholars on blockchain technology. And here I am, a fool. And the moderator asking everyone questions, and then he comes to me. He's also judging me, it's like, what will he answer? Will he be able to answer? So I answered in a very simple way because I'm stupid and I don't know much. I made it as down to earth and basic as possible. So the whole audience was very happy about that, because turns out everybody was speaking in very hi-fi language that common people couldn't understand. But the way I spoke, it was very easily understood. So when we got off the stage, people were clamoring around me for my business card. And these scientists are standing there like this, and they're saying, we are the scholars, we are the credential people. Why are people going to this fellow? Somehow or other, Krishna actually gave me intelligence. I could speak something, and it was very successful. Most people were coming and talking and asking me questions. So many times in my life this has happened, but I feel completely unqualified to be where I am, and somehow I pray to Krishna, like Draupadi mode, and somehow or other, Krishna is there. So for me, that's how confidence in Krishna has come, and the process of Krishna consciousness, whatever Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, are true to the best of I should say best of my knowledge, but true to the best of my experiences. There's so many. So try these, right? That how has it come is by applying it. By applying this knowledge, slowly, it has come. And today, I can feel, I'm not a big scholar or anything. I just know Bhagavad Gita a little bit here and there. But whatever I am, whatever I'm doing, my services, it's purely based on the fact that this process is the best process. There's nothing better than this. There's nothing better than Krishna consciousness. It works. If there's anything that works in this world, Krishna consciousness works. Chanting Hare Krishna works, and the philosophy is the best philosophy. So with this, I'll end here, and I'll see if you guys, if anybody has any questions or anyone to share some realizations, I'd be more than happy to hear.
Thank you very much. I'll just take a minute to give everyone some time to either text your questions on chat, or you could raise your hand. And in the meantime, I'll just make a quick announcement, Prabhu, if that's all right.
Yeah, Prabhu, sure, please.
Okay. So devotees, please keep your questions ready. So coming up this Sunday at the center, we have Venu Madhuri Prabhu, who's coming from Gita Nagari, and he's going to speak about an exciting project, the Gita Nagari farm, what Prabhupada's vision was, and how the Gita Nagari community and the farm is doing right now, and what they have to offer us. So don't miss this Sunday. It's a very special class and presentation by the devotees from Gita Nagari. Also, we are celebrating a 2-day festival, Monday and Sunday, Gaur Purnima festivals. So please join us again, Sunday, March 5th, and the actual day, which is March 6th. And the rest of the information about our Bhakti Vrikshas and afternoon Bhagavad Gita reading, daily morning meditation, japa, all is on our website, ISKCON of Bergen. You can visit there. And all our video previous recordings are also posted here. Anyone has a question? Go ahead, Nimai Karuna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for enlightening lecture. So, Prabhu, you made one point of Prahlad Maharaj in starting, where you said like Prahlad Maharaj was having so much conviction, and we see like at such young age, Prahlad Maharaj was so much convinced. Like even though his father like was a demon like Pravruti, but still, even though his teacher and everyone there in the school were all like teaching him all about against Vishnu, but still he was having so much firm faith. And then you said like when he was in the womb of a mother, that time only he got that all knowledge. But then just want to understand, like we have spent so much of previous life, this life, we are not fortunate to get the Krishna consciousness from the like when we are born or when we're in the womb of a mother. So like almost many of the years we have spent materially, and then when we come to initially to Krishna consciousness, we are very much enthusiastic, but gradually that enthusiasm goes away. So how we can keep that same faith on Krishna so that our motivation in Krishna consciousness is still consistent?
Prabhu, motivation by default is designed not to be consistent. Willpower, motivation, these all have an expiry date. So it is only natural that it'll go through ups and downs. But as we go down, we have plenty of examples. We have plenty of verses. We have plenty of personalities that we should look up to that pick us up. One of the things that I do when I feel down on my motivation, I hear Niranjan Maharaj's kirtans. It really picks me up because I love his kirtans. But at the same time, I also look at him and see someone who did not meet his, guru. Like I heard Niranjan Maharaj got initiated by letter, and he never got to meet Srila Prabhupada, but he dedicated his entire life and he transformed the Ukraine, and many other countries, and still going strong in his services to Srila Prabhupada 50 years later. So things, personalities like that, we should have some kind of hero in our, mind. And that doesn't have to be necessarily our spiritual master. It's great to have our spiritual master, should be one of the heroes for sure. But someone who inspires us, we can relate to, we can connect with them. We'd like, you know what? He's doing it. I have everything. Why not me? My dear Krishna, please help me. So we pray to Krishna. We hear the holy name. We meditate on the examples that we see that inspire us, and we keep moving forward and deepening our relationship with our source of Krishna consciousness, our mentor, our guru, or friend, whoever is nurturing us in Krishna consciousness. The deeper the relationship, the stronger the mercy will flow, the more you will feel motivated, regardless of the situation, because that's how it works. Because, it's like a Wi-Fi connection. The closer you are to the Wi-Fi router, the stronger the connection. So closer you are connected, heart to heart, like guhya bhakriti prachuti, sharing your heart, receiving guidance with your counselor, mentor, whoever is caring for your Krishna consciousness, will make sure you are steadier than you would be otherwise. But again, accept the fact that there will be downtimes, there will be uptimes, and that's how life works. Not just for us, even for the best of devotees, and that's how it is. Does it answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, bro. Prabhu, one more thing, like in your slides, there was one quote, like you said, ignorance is the root of fear. So Prabhu, I'm a little bit confused on that. So when we say ignorance is the root of the fear, are we saying ignorance like when we are ignoring our
No.
seva?
Ignorance means not lack of knowledge. When we don't know, that leads to fear. Anything we don't know is scary, right? Like I used to be scared of ghosts, but once I heard they're just jivas in subtle body, oh, okay, I can chant Hare Krishna and they'll get liberated.
So is that ignorance, Prabhu, also relate to ignorance, like not doing our seva properly, both
This is a
from
different
our
context. This was quoted
okay,
from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu,
okay,
where Rupa Goswami is stating from scriptures that ignorance is a cause of fear. And that's why we say Om Agyana Timrandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakaya. So we are Agyana, but by spiritual master's mercy, we are getting Gyana. And with that, with the torchlight of knowledge, we can open Chakshur Udmilita Gyeda. Spiritually, we are awake and open, and we can see things as it is. So when the knowledge part is there, then you won't ignore your services because you know how special this service is. This is for the person sitting inside you, your closest, dearest friend. So the knowledge brings it. So ignorance to knowledge. So, Gyan to Vigyan. So knowledge to realized knowledge. When realization comes in, you can't ignore your services. Every service becomes extremely special because it is for a very special person.
So Prabhu, the realization, like what you are saying, knowledge to realization. Now realization might be different from case to case basis. Like one devotee might have some different realization, other might have different based upon their own connection with Paramatma sitting in their heart. So like for one devotee, it might be that realization might be very good to proceed ahead with that particular seva, but for other devotee, it will be not that welcoming. So how
any realization will bring you closer to Krishna. When you feel closer to Krishna, when you feel more connected to Krishna, every service becomes valuable. Even the service of the shoe room or the service of cleaning the toilet becomes very valuable because it's like, wow, I'm cleaning my heart. Wow, this is Krishna's house. I have access to doing service here, right? That happens. So it's not a matter of I got this realization and that's why I do this. I got the realization, so I got close to Krishna. Now everything connected to Krishna looks special to me. Krishna's devotees, Krishna's mridanga, Krishna's bathroom, Krishna's whatever, car, right? That's what happens. I will move on to the next person, Prabhuji, because I want to just hear other people also. But you can ask me more questions on Instagram or WhatsApp, and I'll be more than happy to take them.
Sure.
Gopal Govinda Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Very beautiful class. You put together so many beautiful examples, very simple to understand. There is one I would like to discuss. In one of the verses, in chapter 10, 88, as Prabhupada's special one, that the more you are surrendered to Krishna, the Krishna first thing is he takes away everything. And then next thing is he makes you bereft of everything, basically homeless. So I was thinking, so I was reading that purport and like reading the translation kind of shocks you, but reading the purport gives the same kind of confidence what you are explaining. The more we are surrendered to Krishna.
So we should have confidence in Krishna that he will only stretch us to the degree we are capable of stretching. Krishna is not cruel. right? So if
Right.
you're not at Kunti Maharani's position yet, he will not test us to that degree. He will only help us grow to the degree we are capable of growing. He will not break our faith. So don't worry about Krishna taking away all of those things. There are plenty of devotees who are doing extremely well and they're not beggars. Find me one beggar in ISKCON. One beggar. You won't be able to find, because Krishna is providing for all of us. What he does is disconnects the proprietorship mentality, I and mine mentality, right? My house, my car, my wife, my this, my that, right? That he disconnects. That's his mercy. So we know, oh, it's all Krishna's property. So I should take extra special care of my family, extra special care of my house and car and everything, because Krishna's. Even if mine, I could have ignored it. But because Krishna's and I love Krishna, how can I ignore it? So that's what is happening, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada's case, literally his business was closed down and everything. Sometimes it can happen to us also. But Krishna will not test us to the point of breaking our faith. Don't worry.
Yeah, so that's what exactly I was getting into, that some of us, while we are at the surrender, and some of us gets the favorable results, like favorable in terms of our calculation. Some of us don't get it. So those who get the favorable result, they think like, okay, everything is working fine, Krishna is taking care. Otherwise, is it Krishna not taking care? He is still taking care, but understanding is a problem.
He does it in his own way. Sometimes a doctor might operate. Sometimes a doctor might just give medicines. Operation is also, for the cure. Medicine's also for the cure. So Krishna might sometimes take a little stronger, stricter approach, but then we should have faith. Like Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard he's going to die in 7 days, his thought was, Krishna's so kind. I could have just died without thinking of him. But Krishna's so kind. He gave me 7 days to prepare. Wow. Right? So anytime something happens that we think is unfavorable or it is not how we wanted it to be, immediate our practice and our habit should be, Krishna's so kind. Just make it a habit, even if it is mindless. Because what we will eventually, we will see why Krishna is so kind, but initially just accept the fact that Krishna is kind and this situation is required. And we don't know yet, but there's a reason for it. And that reason will be eventually revealed.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
There's another question in the chat. Thinking everything has Krishna's hand, will that not make us complacent?
It can. That's why I said we have the spoiled rich kid syndrome sometimes. But that's why we also look at Srila Prabhupada. Guru and Krishna both go hand in hand. We see the sacrifices made by Prabhupada. We read Lilamrita. We see the sacrifices made by our Guru. We see the sacrifices made by our mentor. And we appreciate, wow, so much they did to bring us where we are. How can I just sit there and take it? I want to reciprocate. And that's what brings us out of that complacency. Yes, it is very easy to get complacent that Krishna's there. So it is, we shouldn't worry. We shouldn't be guilty. We shouldn't feel lamenting or hankering and all of that. But at the same time, complacency can be overcome by gratitude. Gratitude to our founder Acharya, to our Guru, to our line of disciplic succession, who have given their heart, soul, 200 gallons of blood for us so that we can become devotees. And I think the reminder of that allows us to get back and reinstate back in action.
Well, there's another saying, which is ignorance is bliss. Means if you do not know about something, you do not worry about it. And if you don't worry, there's no fear either. So how do these two statements go? Ignorance is fear and ignorance is also bliss.
Sure. Ignorance in the mode of ignorance is bliss. Yes. Bliss has many qualities. Bliss in the mode of ignorance from drugs or alcohol or whatever else. Bliss in the mode of passion from achievements and winning things, and bliss in the mode of goodness, by giving charity, doing good for others, versus bliss in the mode, transcendental mode, where you're directly getting reciprocation from Krishna. There are different levels of bliss. So yes, if you want to stick to ignorance is bliss at the mode of ignorance, fine, nothing wrong with that. But there is more that is available. So one is a little greedy spiritually, lolium, right? We might move up and experience better flavors of bliss. And once, Krishna is very kind, even if we're not pure devotee level, sometimes it gives us a glimpse of what it's like, right? And then we're like, whoa, that was incredible. I want more of that. Like when Barahari Prabhu does kirtan, or some great devotee does kirtan, that's my experience. Like, wow, what it must be like to chant like them, right? And that pulls us forward. So yes, ignorance can be bliss, and knowledge can be much more blissful. And knowledge of Krishna is what is addicting. So Rupa Goswami said, don't go to the bank of Yamuna. Don't look at that blackish blue boy playing the flute if you want to stay sane, right? Reverse psychology. So, so when we have the knowledge of this, there is no going back. It's an addiction. And if you're ready for that kind of addiction, then, there's a lot to explore. Anandam Buddhivardhanam, unlimited ocean of Ananda is waiting for us.
Anybody else has any other questions? Please unmute yourself and ask. Sakri Kaur, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a wonderful lecture. As you were deliberating on this question right now, I just kind of realized that in purports of Bhagavatam, we read that there are two kinds of people who are totally blissed out. Those who have no idea about anything spiritual, and those who are totally transcendental. So yeah, it makes sense to say that ignorance is bliss for those who've got no idea whatsoever, but then there is a future for them as well. They are going to keep coming back to this cycle of life and death, but those who are at the other side of bliss, that is the transcendental bliss, they're going to go back home, back to Godhead, and they're going to get entangled. So I just thought that I would share that.
Thank you, Beth. It's our duty to give them a taste of that bliss so they can move from wherever they're finding that bliss to knowing, whoa, there's a whole new world out there. When we were selling Krishna lunch on campus, there'd be a lot of meat eaters walking by and saying, oh, I'm 100% non-vegetarian. I don't do any vegetarian food. And we would give them like open challenges. We're like, taste this food. If you don't like it, we'll pay for it. And if you like it, you will pay for it, and you should come to Krishna lunch. And every time, 100% guaranteed, people are like, whoa, what is this? I didn't know vegetarian food could taste like that, right? So it's our duty to give them a little taste so they know there is more options, there are more alternatives, and there is a whole different world waiting for them.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I want to get a realization validated, if that's okay, and if you have.
I don't know if I'm the right person for it. There's an opportunity there.
So Prabhu, you were talking about Prahlad Maharaj, and he's one of my favorite characters from Bhagavatam, and such a tiny boy, and what conviction. And what every time I hear about him, his stories, what I see is that, especially those pictures, he's always praying. He's always remembering Vishnu, and no matter which situation he's been put into, bad situations, good situations, so his state of consciousness does not change in any case. And that's why he does not distinguish between happiness and sadness, or bad situations and good situations. And that's why he never complains that, oh, my father did this to me, oh, my father did that to me, not even to his friends. I mean, even after those experiences, when he goes to meet his friends, he's only doing Krishna Katha. He's only trying to teach. He doesn't even mention those things, because to him, it seems as if it just doesn't matter, because his conscious does not change. He's doing the same thing, bad situations, doing the same thing, good situations. So for him as a devotee, he's on, everything is in a very material, everything is in a very, very flat platform kind of a thing, like very neutral platform.
It's not neutral, actually, it's blissful. He's always blissful, because when he's put in the pit of snakes, he sees them, oh, my uncles, right? Anantasesh, right? So wherever he's able to relate everything to Krishna, like Srila Prabhupada in his morning walks, even a pile of bird poop, he was able to relate to Krishna consciousness, to the beach, to the ocean, to whatever he would see, he would bring out a story out of that, right? And that's Prahlad Maharaj's vision of the world. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm never lost to them, and they're never lost to me. So he's always seeing Krishna's footprints and fingerprints everywhere. And that's why he's blissed out. So it's not neutral, actually. It is constant bliss. So even when he's falling from the mountain, oh, when will Krishna catch me? Oh, this is so nice. Woo! Right?
Yeah.
That's
So
the
what I meant
beauty of
by
Krishna consciousness.
yeah, what I meant by neutral platform is that like he does not discriminate that this is good, this is bad. Everything from him is coming from Krishna. If he's experiencing this, it is meant to be. He's meant to experience because it's coming from Krishna. It's being sanctioned by Krishna. So yeah, and that's why so many people, when they come to Krishna consciousness, they have this thing that, okay, will my problem solve if I start chanting? Will problems stop coming to my life? And that's what we devotees need to tell, that look at Prahlad Maharaj, look at Pandavas. It's not we are in the material world, we've signed up for problems. I mean, let's get it straight. That's a big disclaimer that comes with a material existence, that problems will be there. It's just that our attitude to deal with these problems change.
Yes.
And that's what we need to learn from these great devotees, that even in adverse situations, they remained absolutely calm and never complained about things. So I just wanted to get that validated, that his conscious never changes. He's just so stable in his in his thing of remembering Krishna all the time, that it doesn't even matter to him. This is good situation, this is bad situation.
That's what they call pure devotees, right? Pure means he's always in that state. For us, ups and downs, but for pure devotees, they're always in Krishna consciousness, always blissful. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. It was very beautiful.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hey, Hare Krishna, everybody. One last question, if anybody has. Okay. I'd like to thank you, Prabhu,
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for inviting me.
inviting us, and we hope to have you again some other time soon.